guys, welcome to a new MasterThatGear video. Today I'm going to be looking at the Dual Fusion overdrive pedal from Wampler. This is actually a signature pedal. It's actually Tom Quayle's signature pedal. Now if you've never heard of Tom Quayle, first thing I recommend you do is go to his YouTube channel and check out his playing. He's a phenomenal fusion player from the UK who's going from strength to strength in popularity around the world because he's such a phenomenal musician. Now, he had been using Wampler pedals for quite a while, been using the Euphoria and the Paisley drive, combining them together to get his awesome tone. So Wampler approached him to see if he was interested in doing a signature pedal, the Dual Fusion. So rather than just sticking the Euphoria and the Paisley drive together, what Wampler have done is taken the best from each of those pedals and in conjunction with Tom, I've come up with a really versatile pedal, which they say is, ideal for kind of modern fusion playing. Now what they've done is basically it's essence the combination of the Euphoria and the Paisley drive, but it's been tweaked into this two-channel pedal. So you have a vintage channel and a modern channel, and each of these channels have separate tone, volume, and gain controls. And there's also kind of voicing switches in there as well, which allows you to tweak the sound of those individual channels. But if that wasn't enough, you can actually stack them together too. So you can actually stack like channel 1 going into channel 2 or channel 2 going into channel 1. So there's a huge range of combinations available here. And what I'm going to do is go through them in this video. So this may end up being quite a long video, but hopefully it will give you a much better idea of what this pedal is capable of. So let's get stuck in. So let's kick things off by looking at channel 1 on the pedal, which is the vintage mode. So I'm just running my Sir Custom straight into a wee Blackstar HD5. So this is a wee simple practice amp and it's on the clean channel. It's that kind of sound. So with everything's at 12 o'clock here on the pedal, and I've got the switch in the smooth mode, but I'll talk about the switch in more detail once we've looked at this. So this is what we get with the pedal on, everything at 12 o'clock. So there's a nice high-end kind of clarity in there. If I dig in, it just crunches up a little bit more. Okay, so if we play about with the tone control, let's roll it off here. Down at 9 o'clock there. Rolls off that top end quite a bit, and you do hear a little bit of a volume dip too. Not off completely, sounds like that. If we roll it all the way up, it is about 3 o'clock. Oh, really bright kind of sound there. Quite a cutting kind of sound there. And with the tone all the way up, very kind of bright sound there. If it's on the neck pickup actually, adds quite a nice kind of sparkle to that kind of traditional kind of warm neck pickup sound. Okay, so that's the tone control, so that's quite a range there. If we muck about with the gain now, so let me take the gain right down here. I'll go back to the bridge humbucker. So I'm down there at 9 o'clock with the gain. As you expect, it's much cleaner, but there's a little bit of a volume dip there too. There's a nice lush kind of sound to it there. I take the gain away up to the other side here and put it up about 3 o'clock. A bit more sustain there and obviously a bit more kind of overdrive. There's still quite a nice clarity there as well though. Trying the neck pickup. Which is quite nice. Nice sustain there as well. The gain up full, it's quite a manageable, really nice kind of overdriven sound there. You know, get more kind of the rockier kind of side of it. I mean, this is the whole point. This pedal's, you know, it may say it's a dual fusion pedal, but you can use it for whatever you want. It's got really nice kind of string separation on those kind of chords. Really nice kind of rock sound there. So that's the drive and the tone controls there. The volume, as you probably guess, you know, controls all the volume of that channel, but it reacts, you know, that's it way down there at 9 o'clock. You know, huge kind of volume dip there. And way up at the other side, you know, way up at 3 o'clock there. A massive volume hike there, but of course if you're putting that into the front end of like a valve amp, you may just want to push the gain stage of your amp a little bit more with that. Yeah, really nice. Really nice kind of clarity to those notes there. Now, as I said, I'm running this channel in the smooth mode for all that. What is the difference between the smooth and fat? On the smooth, as I said, allows you to maybe dial in a bit more kind of an overdriven sound. In smooth mode, the fat mode, you can hear the difference. The gain's just cut a little bit. There's a little bit more clarity there, maybe. That's smooth. That's the fat. Just seems to punch through just a little bit more. Okay, let's have a listen to channel 2. So this is the modern channel. As usual, I've got everything set to 12 o'clock here. This is what the amp sounds like. A little Black Star HD5 clean channel. I've got the voicing switch set to natural here, and I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail like I did before. But really that's to let the natural sound of the guitar coming through, so a little bit more of a transparent kind of voicing. So that's the clean sound. Here, this is what the modern channel sounds like. So you can hear there, it's a bit warmer sounding compared to the kind of brightness of channel 1, the vintage channel. But there's definitely a bit more gain there on tap. very kind of warm sound. If we play a bit with the tone control, so it's a tone at 12 o'clock. Here it is down here at 9 o'clock. Warms it up a little bit more, funnily enough, a little bit less top end there. Okay, if we put the tone away up to 3 o'clock here, much brighter, a little bit more volume as well because it's coming 4 to the 4. Still really nice. Clarity in those chords. Now, just to let you hear the extremes of the tone, that's the tone up full. Getting a little bit fizzy at the top end there, maybe. If I was on the neck pickup, still a bit kind of fuzzy around the edges there, I suppose. With the tone all the way off, back to that bridge humbucker, really muffled there. You know, you can hear that contrast and cutting through when you roll that tone way off. So probably a bit too woolly there for my taste, but it just shows you've got that versatility in the range of that tone control. Now the gain. Let me bring the tone back up to 12 o'clock there. So the tone the gain off a little bit, down to about 9 o'clock there. Because that kind of sound. So it does clean up a little bit, but it's still got that very warm kind of sound. So the notes, they're kind of sustained in there, but they die off quite quick. If we pull it all the way up to 3 o'clock, much fatter kind of sound. But you can hear there's a bit more of that gain there. Sustains just a little bit longer. Now the actual voicing switch, as I said, that's been on the natural mode. So if I go back to the 12 o'clock, this is the sound that we have, of course, in the natural setting. This is what it sounds like when you flick that throaty switch. Big volume hike there. Plus, there's definitely a bit of a mid shift there. You can hear a bit more of that kind of sound, you know. And it begins to cut through just a little bit more. And this is a bit more. You could easily use this for a bit more of a lead sound because it's cutting through just a bit more. Versus your. A subtler kind of sound. So this just kind of rounds out the notes a little bit. Much more, you know, if we cranked up the gain a little bit actually. Singing kind of sound with it. So there you go, that's channel 2. Now the fun really begins when we start combining these guys together. As I mentioned before, Tom used to run his 2 pedals, the Euphoria and the Paisley Drive, in a kind of looping system. So he had this kind of versatile setup where you could run one pedal into the other, so you could have the Euphoria going into the Paisley Drive or vice versa, or you could have them separated, which gives you loads of different tonal options. You know, you could have 2 separate loops. You could have a clean channel with some reverb on it and a little bit of chorus if you want to go down the chorus route, and then you could have a kind of a soloing kind of sound with distortion, overdrive with some delay on it, or some other kind of effect, or 2 different delay settings. All those kind of options are available. So when Wampler and Tom got together to kind of set up this pedal, they've come up with a clever way of doing this, where we have 2 separate inputs and 2 separate outputs to this pedal. So we're running in this stacked mode. We have kind of 2 options here. We can run channel 1 going into channel 2, so that's why you would have the switch switched over to 1-2 here, or vice versa. You could have the modern channel, channel 2, running into channel 1 if you flip the switch that way. Okay, so that gives us kind of different kind of drive and gain stacking options, as well as all the tone variation and stuff you can get in there as well. So let's start off by looking at channel 1 going into channel 2. So everything's set to 12 o'clock here. As you can see, I've got the voicing on channel 2 to natural and the voicing on channel 1 set to fat. So just a little reminder, this is what our guitar sounds like, just through that little Black Star amp. Okay, and this is what it sounds like when we've got both these channels on. So we've got quite a nice amount of gain there, but it's got that kind of nice woody quality to it, the percussive sound in the strings there. Now, because effectively we're combining 2 different overdrives here, we can kind of blend the 2 sounds. So imagine I've got maybe that modern sound is a little bit more kind of higher gain. The vintage one was a bit kind of clearer sounding. So if I was to bring down this a little bit, you'd have a little bit more of that kind of channel 1 kind of sound in there. You know, if I was to bring that up away here, I'd be getting a lot more gain, but I'd get a little bit more of that kind of modern sound in there. So that might be better. For more kind of soloing sort of options. Still kind of manageable there. You can still hear the string separation when you're doing a strum. You know, likewise, if I was to bring that back down to kind of 12 o'clock, and I took the, you know, the channel 1 drive down, I've been getting more 2 than 1, if that makes sense. You know, and if I went the other way, I get more of that 1 going into 2. So I would expect get a bit more of a volume hike there, and it's beginning to get more to the fuzzier side of kind of overdriven sound. And of course, with this is why we have our separate volumes here. If you were dialing in some sounds, you may want to, you know, bring it down a little bit. Tame that down so you've got a little bit more of it. And you could do the same the other way. Of course, you could take the volume down here. This almost acts like a master volume now. Even though if you turned the volume off here, you'd get the same thing. But this kind of is a little bit more sensitive to the volume, so you can really boost the volume of it, bring it it down. You know, so it's really handy if you want to use this in the house, you know, rather than out live. You know, but there's basically options there to balance the levels. Now the voicing switches are great in this kind of stacking mode as well, because so many options. Now, with everything at 12 o'clock, there's not much difference between the smooth and fat there. But if I had more drive from that channel 1, you would get, you'd hear more of that kind of voicing effect. That's the kind of fat setting, and then the smooth. You know, it doesn't look quite as full sounding. That setting there is actually one of the ones that Tom Quayle prefers. He prefers that kind of smooth setting in here. Very smooth on the kind of legato sound. You know, it has that punch that you really need when you're using legato. Now, if we look at the channel 2 voicing, of course, this throaty setting versus the natural. The throaty one gives us that kind of big volume hike and a bit more of a kind of mid sound as well. And that's what comes through there. So if you wanted, you could turn the volume down a little bit. A really nice kind of rounder sound there, particularly when you get the fat setting here too. Okay, let's do the same now. Now what we'll do is we'll stack the modern channel, channel 2, going into channel 1 here. Okay. So before, as usual, that's what the amp sounds like. So when we put on these 2 channels, this is what we get. So hopefully you can hear that compared to the 1 going into the 2 with everything set at 12 o'clock. Same voicing switches here as well we did, on natural, on fat. It's a much more kind of a punch in the mids there. It's more volume as well. And it's a bit more kind of at the harsher end of the sound as well. And that's because we know that this, kind of channel 1 has that sound. It's got that clarity to it, and it's got that kind of punch to it. So what we'd probably do, bring down that volume a little bit. You can hear that. There's a bit more kind of that rockier side to it going on, because it is a bit more cutting with that kind of rock sound. So as usual, if I was to bring the drive down a little bit here, hear the volume drop off there, because that's kind of almost like our output channel now, channel 1. So I can boost the volume a little bit. And the smooth fat switch, much effect because we've got that gain down, but if I turned it up, bring out the volume, say we're up a bit here, a lot more drive there. There's a lot of distortion there that's going to sustain for quite a while, but you can hear the smooth fat switch has a greater effect, you know, if we go back to the fat and then play around with what we're feeding into this channel 1, which is our channel 2. So with the gain rolled off in that, channel 1 kind of sound of things, and if we bring that up, yeah, a bit more really nice kind of punchy sound. That'd be great actually for bringing like a solo kind of sound out, like a mix live, you know. Again, you know, this switch has a greater effect anyway because of the difference between the natural and throaty, but if I was to bring that back down, that's a natural and that's a throaty sound there. If I had more of that channel 2 kind of gain, interesting, not quite as much effect there. A little more of a subtle effect there, which is quite interesting. And again, in this setting, you've got all this tonal variation here as well. So if you were thinking, well, that's a bit harsh, let me just tame it a little bit. You could warm up the sound a little bit. And again, you know, you could bring a little bit more of this, or you could get the throaty kind of sound. You know, much more rounder kind of sound there. So just for those who are wondering, and for completeness, I'll try my Singlecoils out with the pedal as well, just to see how it reacts. So I've just gone from for the vintage channel going into the modern channel, so 1 going into 2 here. So as you know, quick reminder, that's what the amp sounds like. You know, so with the vintage mode on, really accentuates that kind of hi-fi, high presence sound of Singlecoils. Yeah, if you bring in the other channel as well, that's how you get that very crisp, single coil feel. With the throaty sound, you know, if I was to maybe try and get a little bit more, kind of mids in there. Roll back the volume. up to the kind of smooth setting. Not a huge difference there, but if I bring in a little bit more of this, maybe. That was the fat sound. You know, so in effect you can try and make that single coil sound not very much like a single coil, basically. Which is quite nice. You know, so let's just give you a quick sound. That's obviously the single coil, not the pedal. Quick example of what a single coil sounds with. It gives, you've got that single coil crispness, and of course with this pedal, particularly the vintage channel, which adds a real high-end clarity to it, you could really dial in a real really nice kind of clean kind of sparkly sound. So there you go. I knew this was going to be a long video because this pedal, combining these kind of two channels, gives you loads and loads of different options. So I wanted to at least show you the depth of versatility there. I mean, I could go on for, you know, ages doing different combinations with the tone controls and all that sort of stuff, but you know, we'd be here for hours on end, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me prattle on for any longer. Just wanted to say though, I have actually used this pedal live, and the thing that strikes me overall about the pedal is that versatility in going and maybe using an amp that's not yours or whatever. You know, as I said, I'm primarily a player who likes to plug into an amp and push the front end in the amp. So this pedal's really surprised me in the sense that I can go and use someone else's amp, just set it up nice and kind of neutral, and use this pedal to either give me a really nice clean sound that I want, and then use another channel for like a kind of crunch, and then combine them for kind of a soloing kind of tone as well. And if I've got like a looper set up, you know, I haven't gone through that, but you could have it in separate, and you can muck about with different ways you combine it. You've got loads of different options just from one pedal there, which really impresses me. So as usual, I mean, hopefully the whole point of this video is to give you an idea of what it sounds like, but nothing beats having a go over one yourself. So if you can, try it. At least, you know, give yourself 2 hours or something in the shop so you can go through the different options. But it's a great pedal, and I know Tom is kind of over the moon with it, the guys at Wampler as well, and they should be, because it is a great bit of kit. So as I said, if you haven't checked out Tom's playing, please do so, because he is phenomenal. And you know, check out the MasterThatGear Twitter feed. Come to Facebook if you want to follow us on Facebook. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. You know, because I've got more gear videos and stuff coming along, as well as lessons and things like that too. So thanks for sticking with us for this long video, and until the next video, have fun.